Andrew Friedson. I'm Jordan Lindsay. We have two special guests joining us today, outgoing Executive Director for Montgomery County Council, Marlene Michaelson, and the new Executive Director, Caven West. Welcome to you both. Reporters, if you still need permission to record, please note that in the chat. And if you have any questions throughout this briefing, you can note that in the chat as well. Now I'll toss it to Council President Friedson for opening remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions. Council President, to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks to Marlene and Caven for joining. It's an exciting time of transition at the County Council, and so I'm really thrilled to have you both with us. I'm going to be getting to some of the upcoming topics for this week and the joint committee that we just had and highlighting some events over the weekend. But before that, I wanted to just welcome the Council's new Executive Director, Caven West, and our outgoing Executive Director, Marlene Michaelson, who is retiring after a distinguished and really incredibly impressive career here in public service at the County Council. Mr. West has been busy in this first week at the council, meeting with council members and staff members and learning about the council's processes and procedures, and has joined us during the busiest time of the year and really has hit the ground running during our budget deliberations. We're really appreciative after our national search for a new executive director who was enthusiastically supported among colleagues and really stood out among an incredibly outstanding high-level group of candidates, and brings with him a budget background from the city of Detroit, brings with him significant experience and background overseeing operations of municipal government agencies and bodies, and a lot of management experience as well. He's going to be taking over for Marlene and filling her significant shoes, overseeing the fiscal and policy analysis for the $7.1 billion county operating budget and the day-to-day operations for about our 100 council staff in the legislative branch. Previously, he had served as chief of staff for the clerk of the city of Detroit, and oversaw a $30 million budget, managed the finances, operations, and staff that support the Detroit City Council and all federal, state, and city elections. And so we're just really excited to have him to serve our institution, to help take us to the next level and to continue to serve our 1.1 million residents who rely on the County Council more than they ever have before and have higher expectations for the County Council than they ever have before. And we embrace that, and we are leaning into that. And we're also joined by Miss Marlene Michaelson, my dear friend and colleague, and someone who I'm very sad to see go, but very happy for her and all of the family opportunities that she has coming up. We share some exciting things in common, and just really excited for her. This is a big year for her and her family, and just want to express my deep level of gratitude on behalf of the County Council, also personally as someone who's leaned on Marlene a lot as a personal advisor and confidant and mentor for me as I was transitioning onto the council, and every day really since. But Marlene not only has been a steadfast, unflappable leader of the council institution over the last 5 years, but really in her 35 years of public service, Marlene has been at the center of some of the most challenging, thorniest issues that the council has ever taken up, and has handled it with intellect, with grace, with calm, and overseen some really interesting dynamics. The expansion of the council from 9 to 11 members, an unprecedented period of time where the council took on greater levels of authority as the Board of Health during the COVID pandemic, and addressing those challenges, transitioning from paper to online, transitioning from in-person to hybrid. So many different transitions have happened. We've probably transitioned more in the last few years than we probably did the 30 years prior to that. And it has been under Marlene's steadfast leadership and her cool and calm and steady leadership that has helped us to do that. So wishing her all the best in her retirement, and just want to express how much we will miss her expertise, her dedication to public service, her grace and good humor, and my personal friendship with her, which I'm appreciative will continue long after her service here. And I just did want to note that we're excited that both Caven and Marlene will be working together for the next few months over the transition, Marlene has graciously offered and Caven has accepted to be available on a part-time basis to help with that transition. So we feel good about where we're at in terms of the transition and where we are. Excited for Caven to come on board and very much appreciative and grateful for Marlene's dedication and commitment to helping us through this important transition as we move forward with new leadership and continue some of the work to rethink, reimagine, and remake the county council as an institution and as the legislative branch of county government. So with that, let me turn it over to them if they want to make any comments, and they'll be here to answer any questions afterwards once we take questions. So let me start with you, Marlene, and then I'll turn it to you, Caven.
Well, I've just been so grateful for the opportunity to be in this position and to work with so many council members over the year, and to end my time working with an exceptional group of 11 council members who I think are doing so many wonderful things for the residents of our county. But I have to say the best part of this job is the staff. I have just about the best staff anyone can imagine ever leading. And Caven, I know I leave them in good hands with you. They are some of the most talented, passionate, and dedicated people that I've ever known. I will miss them and make sure I stay in touch with all of them. So
appreciate it, Caven.
Yes. I am just so happy to be here in Montgomery, County. One of the pluses of being here, and this is day 6, week 2 for me, but it seems like I've been here for quite some time. And this is where, the 1.1 million residents come to kind of, have their issues of the day heard by the council. And so at the end of the day, I'm an institutionalist. I echo for the 6 days that I've been here, the professionalism of the council staff and, all of the partners that we have as part of the process. And the institution itself is very much important to me. The great work that Marlene and the staff have been toiling, and the council members have been toiling on for all these years, doing expert work on behalf of the council and helping to kind of, guide the council in terms of the tough decisions that they have to make. And so protecting the institution and making sure like we continue to have an expanded group of professional staff who are creative, who are dynamic, who are very intelligent in terms of the work that they're doing. And so I'm here to provide a guide in terms of, additional support for the staff, but I'm very joyful to be here and to have seen the budget process, albeit, at the end of the process. So I'm very grateful and thankful to you, Council President Friedson, and the other members of the council in terms of allowing me to put in the care and custody of this very great group of professionals in my hands. And so my hope here is that as we move forward, this is a great place to work. Montgomery County is on the cutting edge of a number of issues. And one of the key things is just the diversity of thought and culture here in Montgomery. So for that, I'm very joyful and happy and excited to be here from Detroit. Detroit has gone through some, not so good time, but it's the comeback city, I would say, of the century. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here and be in a position to hopefully help and continue to take good care of the 100+ staff that's here. So for that, I'm thankful. I'm grateful. Super excited to be here. Thank you, Council President.
Well, thank you. And I'll just note, we have an incredible team at the County Council, something that Marlene has played a significant role in developing and recruiting and retaining. And Caven has fit right in, and there's a lot of excitement on the floor and excitement in general of what opportunities we have to continue the progress that has been made, but also to move forward and move ahead and to make changes to adapt to the ever-changing environment that we are in here in Montgomery County and in the legislative branch of such a dynamic community and government. So thank you to both of you for being here. Really appreciate it. I just want to shift gears, take a moment to express appreciation to all the event and community organizers. We had an action-packed weekend. I will say that Sunday was much more beautiful than Saturday, but we enjoyed the days nonetheless. On Friday evening, several of my colleagues joined, as well as the county executive, along with the former county executive, Ike Leggett, to attend the retirement celebration of Dr. Cheryl Brissett Chapman, who served as the executive director of the National Center for Children and Families for 32 years, based on Green Tree in Bethesda. She led that organization from a $1 million annual operating budget to currently a $55 million annual operating budget, and to one of the key partners with the county in serving some of our most vulnerable children and residents. She led the way in advocating for a wide range of issues, including juvenile justice, systems reform and child and family welfare, poverty and homelessness, childhood trauma, domestic violence, and cultural competency, and has become not only a regional leader, but a national and international figure in addressing these issues. And so that was a really exciting occasion for us to recognize somebody who has given so much and done so much. And we know will, as I said at the event, is retiring but not retreating. I think something that's probably also true and applicable to Marlene as well. We also attended the Montgomery County Green Fest on Saturday. I will say it was pouring while I was there for much of it. So thank you to Mother Earth for that. That was at Black Rock Center for the Arts. It's the largest annual environmental festival in Montgomery County, organized by a coalition of public and nonprofit partners, and pleased to join Department of Environmental Protection and so many other community partners and government agencies there. It was a really exciting opportunity. Prior to that, on Thursday, I was also with Department of Environmental Protection, the county executive, to launch a green business initiative through Bethesda Green in Bethesda, which was a great event, and to relaunch their office space, which is a public-private partnership, nonprofit, private sector, county government, all working together to support local sustainable businesses and to help grow a greener, more sustainable future. Also joined Rebuilding Together Montgomery County for some of their significant weekend rebuilds. I specifically joined them in the Tobytown community, where on Saturday, 2 churches were volunteering, and on Sunday, 2 synagogues were volunteering to make major improvements to 2 of the homes in that historically Black community. And it was amazing. They were out there in the rain on Saturday. I went and joined them, trudging through the mud and making significant life-changing improvements to those homes for some of our vulnerable residents. I've been very proud to have led efforts on the council to increase funding for the HARP program, the Housing Accessibility and Rehabilitation Program. That is some of the primary funding that is used by both Rebuilding Together and Habitat for Humanity to support our vulnerable homeowners. When we talk about the Black home ownership challenges in our country and in our community, it's a getting into home ownership for first-time home buyers, which we've been trying to lead on, but it's also retaining the existing Black homeowners that currently exist and other vulnerable homeowners that currently exist, and Rebuilding Together and Habitat for Humanity, along with the county partnership, are really at the forefront of that. So I was really pleased and proud to join that as well in the work that they did. And I was proud to join Council Vice President Stewart, who currently represents the village of North Chevy Chase. I previously represented the village of North Chevy Chase for the prior 4 years, and together we jointly presented them with a proclamation commemorating their 100th centennial anniversary celebration of the municipal government of their town. It is a small but very mighty municipality that punches above its weight and has had some very historic and prominent figures and events that have occurred there. And so that was a really exciting day. And I also was pleased to join a fashion show hosted by local nonprofit Blue Runway for Autism, and also celebrate a very popular Only Days weekend celebration, among others, and a breakfast event with Congressman Steny Hoyer, Congressman Jamie Raskin, Councilmember Lorianne Sales, to support and continue our efforts in the Scotland community for the Second Century project to support the AME Zion Church there that I have been very active in and involved in since the beginning. Unfortunately, it wasn't all good news this weekend. Police are searching for who is responsible for defacing a sign outside of Temple Beth Ami in Rockville, which said "We stand with Israel," and it was vandalized with crossing out of Israel. Specifically, the police are taking this incident extremely seriously. Hate has no place in Montgomery County. Our police department is at the forefront, really, of local police departments in addressing hate-based bias incidents and hate crimes. This is a very serious incident, one that I know has shaken that community. I will note at the time that this was noticed and reported, volunteers from Temple Beth Ami were literally in a community volunteering to help rebuild that home. Literally, same synagogue, same community. There were Sunday services going on. There was outreach community events going on. And it's just, to me personally, on a human level, to me as an elected official, it's angering, it's frustrating, it's upsetting. And it's something that we are extending our thoughts to those at Temple Beth Ami, to the community and congregation, but to the broader community, because these issues don't just impact those who are directly targeted. Like any hate-based and bias incident like this, they impact all of us in the community. And so we're thinking of everybody, and we're working together to make sure that our police are investigating this, are working together with anybody who has any leads, and that it will be addressed with the seriousness that it deserves. Did want to turn to some positive news today. Earlier this morning, the council took up the J.O.B.S initiative that I put forward that is moving through the legislative process with many of my colleagues and the executive branch, all working collaboratively with the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. We had a Government Operations and Fiscal Policy and Economic Development Committee joint review today, and it was recommended with 6 votes to move forward to the full council. This is an essential effort to jumpstart our local economy. Really pleased to have worked together with the MCEDC, fellow council members, 8 of whom are co-sponsors of this initiative, the county executive and his team, and really did want to thank in particular Bill Tompkins, the president and CEO of MCEDC, Ken Hartman Espada, the assistant CAO, for all of their work to help to get us to this point. This is an unprecedented level of coordination and collaboration that has taken place that I have been pleased to help facilitate, but really they deserve the credit. We have wanted to see the executive branch, the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, and council staff working collaboratively to advance our economic development goals. This has been, from my view, the greatest example of that I have seen up to this point. We saw it on display today, and really just absolutely excited, not just for this significant effort to jumpstart our economy, to be able to pay for all of the essential services that our residents rely on. We need to grow the pie so that there is more funding and resources for all of our other priorities. So I'm really excited about the $10 million Job Creation Fund, the $7 million Innovation Fund, the $3 million Founders Equity Fund on creating new opportunities in our economy. But I'm also excited about what this can mean moving forward to the level of collaboration and coordination amongst public agencies and with the private sector in order to move things forward. Every job with a salary of $100,000 creates $470,000 in economic spinoff in the community. It's over a 4-to-1 return on investment. So we know that these are dollars that are going to go, to help us significantly to jumpstart an economy that has stagnated at times. We also know that we're doing it in an intentional way. There's a significant and intentional level of equity that has been layered onto every aspect of this fund, not just the Founders Equity Fund that is specifically targeted and focused to underrepresented communities and entrepreneurs, but the Job Creation Fund has a bonus if you are in community equity index areas determined by the census. There are intentional outreach efforts and training efforts that are being undertaken. The level of intentionality in this inclusive economic development package is really significant and has really been thought through and is part of that coordination and collaboration that has happened. And, I'm continue to be extremely excited about what Montgomery County can and should be doing. But we want to make sure that we're as strong as the sum of our parts, unrivaled economic bones that we have in Montgomery County, and continue to grow jobs. Total employment has been growing in Montgomery County by 9,429 jobs, but we are still 25,000 jobs below where we were in September of 2019, several months before the pandemic. It's really a breathtaking statistic and something that really ensures that we need to be competitive. We need to regain our footing in the region as the economic powerhouse of the greater capital area. We need to double down and triple down on our core strengths, which are unrivaled to any other local jurisdiction anywhere, not just in the region, but in the country and across the globe. We have that ability to do that, and I am confident that we can do that with this jobs initiative, and just really pleased with the incredibly strong support that we've received from the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, many of the local chambers, the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Black Collective, the Montgomery County Small Business Association. We are moving forward in an intentional way to prioritize a robust economy, which we know is essential to ensuring a high quality of life and economic opportunity for all of our residents. And so looking forward to moving this forward to full council. It will be placed on the council agenda for a work session and vote next Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow, and look forward to moving this forward with the urgency that it requires so that we can grow a strong economy and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be part of it. With that, happy to open it up to any questions for myself or for Caven or for Marlene, and so I will turn it back to you to facilitate that, Jordan.
Great. Thank you so much, Council President Friedson. Reporters, friendly reminder, if you have any questions, please note that in the chat or you can raise your hand. Up first, we have Tom Fitzgerald with Fox 5. Good afternoon, Tom.
Council President, thanks for doing the call. I just want to follow up on the incident at the synagogue over the weekend. Clearly it said you reacted to this on a union level. Given what's been going on in the country of late with the anti-Semitic rhetoric, we've seen protests across college campuses in the country. I know in the aftermath of October 7th, there were steps on the county level taken to deal with safeguarding and securing houses of worship, especially at synagogues and temples. Are you considering more of that? Are we in a period of time here where we need to be extra vigilant about security at houses of worship, especially with people of the Jewish faith?
Well, thank you. As you know, I mean, obviously it's a very personal issue for me and something that I've been very involved in, specifically. I was proud to have led the effort to suggest adding $317,000 to the grants program, a program that I helped to start working collaboratively with the executive branch. That program actually started several years ago, and it started after the Tree of Life massacre, based on concerns that we had of ongoing issues related to security threats of houses of worship. We organized a faith security town hall at the county council. I led that and was co-sponsored with Councilmember Albornoz and Councilmember Katz. And ultimately that faith town hall, which brought in not just Jewish faith institutions, but all faith institutions sharing their concerns, palpable concerns about safety issues. It led to the executive branch and Chief Administrative Officer Madalino working with us to establish the nonprofit grants program. It was proposed in the budget that year. And then ultimately during the budget, I pushed for us to expand that actually after we saw in the early days of COVID with significant threats to the Asian American and AAPI community, that we expand that to ethnic organizations that were also at risk of specific threats. And so we expanded it. We protected it as part of a same services budget because of how important security was and is as a core government function, and then have continued to fund that in the subsequent years. In the aftermath of October 7th, as you noted, we immediately got funding out, and then we made sure that we offset that funding, which I pushed for and worked together and collaboratively with colleagues on. Not lost on me, I'll note, Tom, when I suggested the joint committee session that we took up that supplemental appropriation where I suggested adding the additional funding so that we were not supplanting the existing and ongoing needs that people had, but addressing the emerging and increasing challenges, unfortunately, that our faith institutions are currently facing. That was on the eve of the 75th anniversary of Kristallnacht, which was the day during the Holocaust where Jewish businesses were specifically targeted, Jewish homes were specifically burned, vandalized, massacred in some instances, and it was one of the darkest early days of that Shoah in Nazi Germany. And that really brought home these challenges and how real they are and how visceral they are to the lived experience of so many members of our community. The security grants program is proposed to be funded in the budget. I will be working hard to protect that funding. There is overwhelming support on the council to continue that funding. And so this program will continue and has been expanded with additional funding. So I think we are poised to meet the needs, but we know that these are ever increasing needs. And I will note that other jurisdictions are following Montgomery County on this. We were, by all accounts, the first local jurisdiction to provide funding for security of this kind, operating funding as well as capital funding at the local level. There's some states that do this. The federal government has done this, but no other local jurisdiction prior to us had done this until we did this several years ago. And unfortunately, it was needed even more than we realized when we originally started this program. And so we have increased the funding as a result. So we are here to send a loud message to all of our nonprofit partners, to all of our faith institutions, to all of our residents, that everybody in Montgomery County should be able to attend their place of worship, should be able to go to school, should be able to be who they are, where they are at all times. And the county takes it very seriously that we will do whatever we can to keep them safe.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Up next, we have Kelly Lynn with WJLA. Good afternoon, Kelly.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for taking me. I appreciate it. Congratulations first, Mr. West, on your new position.
Thank you so much.
My question is for you, and Mr. Friedson, feel free to also respond to this when he's done. And the question is, in this new position, Mr. West, do you believe that you will be able to help the county better address their challenges like school safety, chronic absenteeism, education cuts affecting programs, students, and staffs, as well as construction delays? Will you be able to make a difference in those areas for the county in this new position?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. Much appreciated. Just let me step back a little bit. So in my past life, when I worked in the Michigan legislature as part of the nonpartisan House Fiscal Agency, I was the senior advisor on the education budget. So very much familiar with education issue, and the struggle between providing funding at the state level and local level and all of those educational issues. And the fact that, overall you have a $7.1 billion budget, half of that goes to the schools, and it's a very important half because that adds to the quality of life and the competitive advantage in terms of why I would assume people move here, whether it's special, if you have a special education child or just overall education and not having to think about private school. So, the education world is a world that I've come from. Obviously, it's different here in Montgomery County, but those issues I'm very much familiar with and can help in that area. I understand, having schools and making sure the schools, many of these schools probably were built probably in the 80s or 90s. And so, there's never enough funding available to really catch up on some of those foregoing maintenance of the buildings and keeping up with technology, or making sure there are bike racks that are out in front of some of these schools. So capital improvement adds to the educational experience in the classroom, in addition to small or medium class size. So it's all included, right, in terms of making sure like the experience of the child when a parent hands off that child to the school system to make sure that child is educated, that they feel safe, that they feel nurtured. This is the world that I come from. So the short answer is yes, obviously. There are some nuances in terms of how education is delivered here, but I have that fundamental, background to understand and to hear and help, advise the council members in terms of, the best approaches. But we have a great team here that's been working on the CIP budget, especially for the schools and allocating school funding. So, I'm just here to support that. But the short answer for you, and thank you for the question, is yes, I will be able to help in that realm as well as others. But thank you very much for the question.
Yeah, let me just chime in real quick.
ahead.
First of all, we have utmost confidence that Caven is going to provide significant leadership to us. He brings a background that I talked about that brings both the fiscal side of things and the budgetary side of things operationally and from a management perspective, but also the fiscal oversight piece of it, both of which are part of this role. This is a role that oversees analysts that oversee the $7.1 billion budget, but also oversee our own, 100-person staff and, all of the budgetary dynamics of operating the day-to-day. So we feel really good and excited about his background coming in and to help us to address many of the challenges that we face. But noting the team because we have a great team on the capital improvement program team with a tremendous amount of experience. Keith Lachenko, Essie McGuire, Naeem Mia, who really lead the CIP team on the MCPS budget. We have Craig Howard and Essie McGuire together, who bring a substantial amount of experience, probably more experience than we have ever had on those issues in recent years, and you're seeing that. And then we also have Craig Howard overseeing the overall budget as well. So Caven's coming in, and we think he can bring significant leadership, but he's joining a really high functioning, really terrific team who are really operating at a significantly high level. That doesn't mean we don't have challenges. It doesn't mean we don't have issues that we need to address, but from the council oversight perspective, we feel really positive about that. I did want to note two other things about MCPS oversight. One is we included last year for the first time two Office of Inspector General positions specifically to address issues within MCPS. Thank goodness we did. It has been one of the most overutilized entities that we have funded, and the Inspector General has done terrific work on MCPS specifically. I'm proud of the fact that I have helped to lead the efforts to strengthen the Office of Inspector General broadly, and that we've worked together as a council to move forward to strengthen the oversight of MCPS through the Office of Inspector General specifically. And preliminarily, as part of the committee review, we haven't gotten to the full council yet, but the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee has recommended additional support in the Office of Inspector General, specifically for the MCPS audit unit for their oversight. So we're doing that. And then I, one of my first acts as council president, commissioned with the support of colleagues an Office of Legislative Oversight review to analyze all the various fiscal and operational reports in MCPS to look at a gap analysis to see what do we have, what don't we have, what are we reporting on, what aren't we reporting on, and making sure that those reports are talking to each other, because there are a tremendous number of reports, and we learned this from some of the OIG reports and even the Jackson Lewis report from the prior incidents that have been heavily reported, that sometimes reports happen, but they don't necessarily go to the right place, or they're not talking to the right people, and they're not talking to each other. We need to make sure that we are acting on the reports and the information that we have. And so doing this analysis through the Office of Legislative Oversight, making sure that the Board of Education has what it needs, the council has what it needs to do our respective jobs, and to make sure that the public is aware to the extent appropriate what is going on and what we're doing about it is going to be critical. So I feel like we are taking these efforts to a new level as we need to and as we should, and am looking forward to Caven's background in helping to add to the efforts that we're doing and add to the staff who are doing a really great job.
Yeah, I was just curious to know, Mr. West, what would you identify as the greatest challenges facing Montgomery County right now? And what are your immediate next steps in this new position, please?
Well, I mean, some of the things that I'm seeing, again, this is day 6 for me. But the quality of life here is second to none. And you have residents who have a certain service expectation, all within a time where maybe some of the funding is not available. So that's a consistent tension. And from being here 6 days, it's a place where folks know that they will be cared for, whether it's health services or other services. So you have that healthy tension where people want to move to Montgomery County. But on the other side of this is, how do you fund all of those great programs? So that's a good tension for you, for folks to have. In the city of Detroit, we had the opposite. We're in a place where funding level is somewhat stabilized, but there has been a push to get more residents to move into the city. So you have a great park system. The Ag Reserve is one of the most interesting aspect of Montgomery County, where you've preserved, farmland. So, folks have a little bit of both. You have the great downtown town center. So it's a place where the quality of life is high, the educational system, in terms of those key metrics that folks in the educational community look for, in terms of making sure your kids are being educated, and the next generation is being cared for. These are all the metrics that people look for when they determine where to move or whether or not they should move to somewhere else. So those are the good things. For me, the very next step is, exerting like executive patience to listen to the already great team of professional experts that we have here, and to try to understand some of the differences. One of the unique differences between here and even at the local level is the fact that, the educational budget doesn't pass through a county in Michigan. It's all funded either locally or through a combination of state fund with an elected board of education who has day-to-day operational responsibility for setting the policy and the tone for the superintendent. So those are all differences. But, one thing I've learned here is the vision and the mission of everyone is the same, and they all advocate for their respective aspect of it, but it all adds to the great quality of life and the bonus of a multicultural county, speaking 100 different languages, where everyone feels safe, like it's a place that they can belong and be their very best. So I'm just so elated and joyful to be here and to plug in and add value and to listen, to the folks that have been here, and the team, great, outstanding team here. And the institution of the council is most important, because this is the inflection point of where people come when they're having some kind of trouble, to have their issues, of the day, some very important issues. They come to the council. And so we have to provide executive patience and listen to the folks, and whether or not they speak English or not, find a way for them to be at the table to kind of put their issue and present their issue. So I'm just so excited to be here, because, to be frank with you, this is the type of organization that I've been searching for, that I've been seeking. And so now I'm here, and all the boxes in terms of a place to work, like Montgomery County for me is a place of first employer, but it's one vision here at the council. I'm just building on that and plugging into that. And as Council President Friedson said, the mission and the vision is the same. We're all pointed in the same direction. And I got to give a shout out to Marlene Michaelson. She's been so helpful and gracious, in working with me. And but it's just a great place to work. So I'm happy to be here.
Great, thank you so
Thank you
much.
again.
Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions here in the chat. Reporters, if you have any other questions, you can note that in the chat or you can raise your hand. Going once, going twice. Okay, back to you, Council President, for closing remarks. Thank you.
Sold. Okay, thank you, Jordan. Thank you to everybody who's joined us. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Caven, welcome, and we're really excited to have you. Thank you to Marlene for your decades of service. We are truly and deeply grateful. We look forward to celebrating you tomorrow in an official capacity, and really appreciate everybody joining us today to be able to do it here. So thank you, and I hope everybody has a great day. We've got some more sessions coming up to continue our work on the budget, and look forward to what is going to be a sprint here for the final few weeks as we come up with our best recommendations and final decisions on how we appropriate the taxpayer dollars in the best way to serve our residents. Thank you.